Can you imagine a Democrat being targeted like that by a candidate for Attorney General? Because that's what's happening with Bragg. That's what's happening with Letitia James. That's what's happening with Fani Willis. Does that sound like equal justice, blind justice in America? I don't think so. And some Democrats apparently have law enforcement helping them cover up their crimes. Let me give you a prime example. We just learned the wife of New Jersey Senator, recently indicted, Bob Menendez, reportedly killed a pedestrian with her car back in 2018. Now, the senator's wife was cleared pretty quickly of any wrongdoing by the police and allowed to leave the scene. According to the New York Times, she was not tested for any drugs or alcohol. The incident was never reported publicly until now. How convenient. And by the way, she allegedly later got a replacement car, the Mercedes convertible listed in the indictment. It's nice to have good friends. Kilos of gold, tons of, everybody has 500 grand of cash living on a senator's salary, right? Laying around their house, in their pockets, stuffed down their sheets, whatever. Anyway, here with reaction to all of it, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley. Jonathan, welcome back.
Thank you.
Professor, if I'm wrong, I guess I would fail in your class, but why do I believe that we shouldn't have people that are running for positions like DA, like Bragg in New York, or Letitia James, AG, or Fani Willis down in Georgia, that are campaigning to go after one person by name, one family by name, one organization by name? That seems to me that they're going in with the predetermined agenda and making that a campaign promise. And in those positions, they have an awful lot of power, don't they?
They do. And when James was running for office, I wrote that I thought there were serious ethical problems with a prosecutor really trying to secure office on the pledge to nail one person. This is a trophy pledge that I'm going to bag Donald Trump, and not mentioning what he might be charged with. I'm just going to charge him with something. And that should be an embarrassment to the entire New York bar. I think that Bragg should be an embarrassment. His case is, in my view, just ridiculous. It barely holds together. But this is part of this recreational use of the laws to pursue unpopular persons. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be any merit to the question about these filings for banks and loans. But the question is this selective in isolating the Trump business? Because I wrote earlier that James has expressed very little interest in liberal organizations that have been accused of similar conduct. She's gone after the NRA. She's gone after Trump. She has really developed the signature that she will use all of the levers of her office to go against political opponents.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So we're watching the case down in Mar-a-Lago. At issue in this case that actually is taking place in New York about the Trump organization, they want to put all Trump properties in receivership so they'd have no control, take $250 million, prevent them from ever doing business in New York for at least 5 years, not that they'd ever want to. And what's really amazing to me is that issue is the idea that Donald Trump somehow on his financial applications for loans and insurance policies inflated the cost and the estimates of their value. Now, there is a disclaimer, I read it on the air last night, in every contract where it says, do not take our evaluations to heart, that basically these financial institutions have their own fiduciary responsibility to come up with their own figures on that. And by the way, I don't know a single lender in the world that would say, oh, you think your home is worth $1 billion? No problem. And here's the irony of this. Then the judge uses a tax assessment, even though the town of Palm Beach told him not to do so. He literally said Mar-a-Lago's worth, what, anywhere between $18 and $26 million. Well, if you get a 2-acre plot of land, there's one for sale, just dirt, and there's 20 acres of Mar-a-Lago. That's $200 million right now. An acre, that's $175 million. You can go check it out on Trulia.com or one of those websites. So how does this judge do exactly what they're accusing Donald Trump of and not give a proper assessment? How does that play out in this case? Because to me, that's pretty despicable.
Well, this is going to have to play out because it has to be to withstand appellate review. The difficulty for the Trump team is that the New York law is almost unique. It doesn't require an intent to defraud, and it doesn't require that anyone lost money. In fact, the Trump team is arguing that these banks made a lot of money. Nobody lost a cent. So there's no classic victim in this sense. But under the New York law, you don't have to cost anyone a dime for James to demand what's called disgorgement of profits. And that's what she's arguing for here. But she's using a nuclear option here, which I can't understand, in demanding all of this relief.
Yeah. Professor, always great to have you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.